That's our theme show for the Building Black podcast.
Doing too much as usual.
We don't have a theme song prepared just yet, so I will provide.
So you was
the
gonna
theme
hum
song.
it and sing it through.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Doom, doom, doom.
Just no.
No. Okay, I'll stop. Welcome everybody to the Building Black podcast and Facebook Live. I'm so happy to have you all joining us. My name is Kaidi Rodriguez and
I am Marvelyn Brentum Shivers.
this is my co-host, and we're going to get started in just a minute. So we're just waiting for a few more of you all to join in. We want to be looking at the comments. So the entire time that we're recording this, as we've stated, it is going to be aired on all of your podcast platforms. We'll also be streaming to YouTube and posting in YouTube. But as for right now, we are just engaging our Facebook group, the Building Black Community, and we want to hear from you all. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your questions. So as we're talking, please comment in the comment box. And this is not just our thing, but this is a community. So we want for you all to be involved as well. Just let us know, for those of you who are listening in right now, just let us know that you can hear us okay, that you can see us okay. Just drop a note to let us know that you're there and all is well.
Yes, Jason, please drop a note because we see you. You are the first one there.
Yes,
so
we see you tuned in, so we appreciate it. Can you all hear us and see us? And
yes,
are we ready to go?
Ready to go.
And we had all kinds of technical issues. Typically, you see, this is not our typical broadcast area. When you have been working from home and not using your office for about 5 months, sometimes you leave your office keys at home. So I locked myself out of the office. We had to improvise and set up our little studio where we could. All right. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason. Yep.
Thanks, T. We see that you all can hear us. So we're going to
Thanks,
go
T.
ahead and get started. So as I stated, my name is Kaidi Rodriguez, and this is the Building Black podcast. I have my co-host here.
Yep, I am Marvelyn Brentum Shivers.
And
So glad to be here finally.
yes,
It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming.
Yep,
We've been talking about this. Well, we did our Black Love series back in March,
Yep.
right when the pandemic hit. But we
Right.
had been planning on doing this for our community even before all of that.
That's a fact. It's been just something kind of started small and then has built
Right.
into something bigger. So
Yep.
we're happy to be here.
Right. So we want to just kind of give you all a little bit of an idea of what we're doing here, especially for those of you who are going to be joining on the podcast, what our goal is, and just a little bit of an introduction to the Building Black community. So our why are we doing this? For me personally, I am very passionate about seeing Black people win. And we really want to do this to help empower and equip the Black community with the tools that they need for success, to really heal ourselves. We've experienced so much as a people, and we want to empower ourselves with information. We want to build community, and this is really just my passion. How about you, Marv? Why are you doing this?
It's also my passion. I think that everything that we've done up until this point, it brought us back to us as Blacks or as African Americans, focusing on building our communities, building our families, just taking care of ourselves. So it all came front and center.
Right. And so everything that we do here in the podcast and in the Building Black community is all about building three things: Black health, Black wealth, and Black love. Emphasis on that Black love. I feel like that could potentially be the most rewarding of the three, but also the most challenging of the three. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the future. So that's what our community is about. We try to focus on making sure that everyone in our group feels respected, that all the information that we share is empowering, uplifting, and informative. We don't tolerate any kind of disrespect or craziness within the group, and we don't expect to see any. And it's all about growth. So what we want to do today is to go over 2020 so far, a year in review.
Crazy.
And it's been a crazy year.
Yes, so far, yes.
Right. But 2020, particularly as it relates to Black people.
Right.
Because it's all about building Black.
Right.
See it? My Black is beautiful.
Right,
What
right,
does your shirt say?
Reparations.
Yes.
For our ancestors.
Yes, there you go. So it's all about looking at how did this year affect us as a people.
Yeah.
So this is a heck of a year.
Yeah, it has been. It has been. But it's still going. That's the crazy part about it. We're still in the year and we're still, we're about to hit September, but we're still going.
Right.
Things
So
are
much
still
has happened.
happening.
So much has happened.
Mm-hmm.
So from you all in the comments, how are you all feeling just as a Black person in America, given everything that's happened? And I'd like for you all to share that. How are you all feeling about all of this? We're going to start with January. So
From the
January, from the top,
Yeah.
January. This year, 2020 came out the gate with drama.
It did.
So
It
what
did.
happened in January?
We had the death of Kobe, and I think that hit our community very hard, especially our Black men.
Right, January 26th, exactly.
Yeah, January 26th, Kobe was in a tragic helicopter accident with his daughter, and I think it hit our community just different,
Right.
especially our Black men.
Especially given that it was so unexpected, he was so young, and it
Yeah.
seems as though he was invincible in some ways.
Right,
I felt
right.
I felt his death probably more severely than any other celebrity death than I had experienced.
Right.
Maybe the closest to it might have been Whitney Houston, maybe, or Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
But really,
yeah.
because he was so young, and it was so unexpected, I think I grieved.
Yeah, I think we all did, and I think because we grew up with him, too. We
Right.
grew up
Yeah,
always
he's about
knowing
our
about
age.
Kobe. Yeah, or a little bit older, but we always knew about Kobe or heard his name
Right.
throughout the years. So it did hit different.
Mm-hmm.
It really did.
So I see in the comments, just jumping back to how we are feeling, Jay Martin says, tired.
Darlene, you said very still. That's interesting.
Does she mean very still as in very tired still? Or just
I'm not
very
sure.
still?
Dar, please explain
Yeah,
what that means.
right. Clarify
Jason
for us.
said he's tired. Okay, yeah. That's
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah, tired.
Tired.
There's just been so much in terms of race relations
Yeah.
that have tired us out. So going back, year in review, 2020 with Kobe.
He's
So
tired too. Yeah.
I think it hit a lot of Black men very hard. They grew up with him. I think a lot of Black men saw themselves in him.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
remember hearing one of our group members share how, on Facebook how they would, when they would be playing basketball, they would do the, I don't know, jump,
The Kobe.
whatever it was, and go Kobe afterward.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
that was a signature part of their childhood. And so this year came out the gate kind of coming for Black people, Black men in particular.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you want to jump into February?
Yeah. So February, following the death of Kobe, there was the exchange between Gail King and Snoop Dogg. And so she did her interview with Lisa Leslie and was inquiring about what Lisa Leslie thought about Kobe and the sexual assault allegations.
Yeah, that's a fact. And we have to be honest because you and I disagreed about this.
We did.
We disagree. You want to tell the people? You can tell the people your side.
Well, you tell your side. Go ahead.
I just felt that Gail kind of pushed Lisa Leslie in that interview. Lisa seemed noticeably upset because she was very close to Kobe, and it felt like from the outside looking in that she kind of pushed her and kept pushing her. So I could see why we were upset about that interview. I understood why.
Okay. Well, I want to hear from the audience. I want to hear from you all.
Absolutely. Especially the men
Yes.
in the building.
Put a like
Here
you
we
do.
go.
Put
Here
a
we-
one in
y'all,
the
she-
comments
She do so much,
if
y'all.
you were
She
in
do
agreement
so-
with Gail doing her job and inquiring with Kobe about how
That's
he
a good way to look
or
at it.
inquiring with Lisa Leslie. If you were in agreement with her doing her job and just asking the question, put a 2 in the comments if you felt like she did too much.
And I also felt that while we do know that, we know what happened with Kobe and, we know what happened with the allegations or what actually came out. We know what happened. I felt like it was too much Personally,
maybe too soon.
There we
There
go.
people
Too
were
much
grieving. It was
people were,
insensitive.
yeah, we were, we didn't even really get to digest his death.
Right.
And here you are probing
Mm-hmm.
about while he was alive and things that happened. So I think that was kind of a bit much.
So I understand that, and I understand that people were grieving, and we want to be sensitive to who he is, and to the fact that he had passed, and be sensitive to his family and his kids. I think the reason why there was so much conversation about it is because within our community there tends to be an overlooking, or a kind of just an overlooking in terms of sexual assault. Women are often not believed when
Okay.
they are speaking out about crimes committed against them. And so when
I
we're
agree.
looking at two systems, we're looking at a system of racism. And we're looking at a system of patriarchy. Patriarchy is what allows for women to be taken advantage of, sexually assaulted, sexually abused, things like that.
Right.
And so I think those two things were at play, and it was okay for Gail to talk about it, because if we don't talk about these things, if we don't talk about sexual assault, then how are victims ever, healed? When there's this kind of hush hush, we can't talk about it, we can't process it, we can't admit it. There needs to be conversation, and we can't be afraid to say the things that are hard to say, even if they may come across insensitive, because I'm sure if it was my child that had gone through this incident, I don't think I would say, oh, we don't need to talk about that right
I
now.
agree.
If it were my child, if it were your daughter,
I agree.
you wouldn't
I
say, oh,
just
this
think
is not the time to ask that question, if it were your daughter.
That's true. Let's see what the people saying.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Jason, we start off with Dar.
Uh-huh.
Of the awareness of high. Okay. Thinking forward. Jason said Gail was dead wrong. What did you ask? What did you ask them again? I'm sorry.
Gail was dead wrong. So
Not Jason.
basically,
Gail. Sorry.
yes, Gail was dead wrong.
Yes.
He said two. T said two, meaning that they felt that she was wrong.
Okay.
It was
okay,
the
I
wrong
forgot what you
time.
asked. Okay.
It was out of line. Jason said.
Jason said we didn't get her Kelly, but Kobe wasn't found guilty.
Okay, Jason, you might have to clarify on that.
Jason, yeah, clarify what you're saying. T said we talked about it while he was alive. We did. That was big conversation. While
You
Kobe
mean like
was
when
alive?
it happened?
Yes.
Yeah, when it
That was-
happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I can see where
Jason said it was out of line.
kind of dredging up old stuff. But of course,
Listen,
when
guys,
people,
we love that you guys are here, and we want to keep hearing from you, because we
Yes.
don't get to hear from the men as often.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate your honesty and your thoughts.
right
Okay.
now, kind of
So-
going back to what happened in February, we could talk about this for a while.
Yeah, so that's why we might have to
We might have to cut it
we
short.
have to
But
cut it short.
but essentially,
You still got stuff to
yeah,
say.
we still got stuff to say. No,
No, we
so
got
we didn't
stuff
talk
to
about Snoop and Gail.
Yeah.
So Gail,
Yeah, we didn't get to- yeah, we didn't get to that part.
was having this interview with Lisa Leslie. Snoop saw it, got upset, got on social media, I think it was Instagram.
He did.
And said, he called her a funky dog-headed bitch.
He went in.
And then said, we coming for you. Threatened another black woman on social media with millions of people following. He threatened this black woman.
He did apologize though.
Yeah, but
He did, but he was out of line. He went too
Completely.
far. He did go too far.
he went way
He
too
went
far.
off. He went off of his emotions and reacted
Right.
quickly.
And so
Right.
what ensued from that whole incident was, I kind of saw this social media storm of black men and black women just not being, or just people in general, us not being on the same page.
Absolutely.
Black women feeling like they're undefended, as demonstrated by how Snoop came for Gail, and a lot of black men that I spoke to or saw felt that
It was
it was justified.
Okay, so the men in the building, what do your number thing? And
Do you feel?
let's see what the men said.
Put a one in the comments if you feel that Gail was justified in how, or not Gail, Snoop was justified in how he
absolutely.
came for Gail. Put a one in the comments if you feel that Snoop was justified.
Okay.
Men or women.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And so what it showed within how we bring it back to the black community is that it demonstrated that we are not on the same page. And we're struggling with the weight of patriarchy, and we're struggling with the weight of racism. Racism because I think a lot of black men felt that the issue was that Kobe was accused. We don't know if it actually happened. White women accuse black men of things all the time, from all going all the way back to Emmett Till and prior to that. And so there's this racial trauma around black men being accused of things that they didn't actually do. So they're sensitive about it.
And, yeah, and to piggyback off of that, I think I think the issue really is that it's deeper than just Gail and Snoop. We're just using them as an example. There's a disconnect between black women and black men that I don't know what the issue is. I don't know what it's deep rooted though.
Right.
And that I think the Snoop reaction and him coming for her, it shows the disconnect that we have.
Well, I think the issue is like what I said. It's that trauma of years and years or centuries of racism and patriarchy together.
Right.
You know, black women are feeling the weight of, you know, their oppression as women, and then black people in general are feeling the weight of oppression, being under a racist system, and we just
black men feeling the same thing.
Yeah, black
too.
people. Right. So
So
that was February. That was just February. Okay.
Hold on, let's see. Okay, so T said he was justified to come for her, but he was unnecessarily disrespectful. Agreed.
Okay.
I agree with that.
I could go with that.
Okay.
Anybody else have thoughts about that? Feel free to drop them in the comments.
Please, we want to hear from you guys.
Okay.
March. Okay,
do?
March. Yeah, March. The pandemic hit. COVID-19 hit, and us as blacks were largely affected. Blacks and actually Latinos were largely affected.
Native Americans as well.
Really?
Disproportionately affected.
Okay. Okay. So that's just another thing that we've had to deal with this year. And this is that we're actually still dealing with. We're still in the middle of a pandemic right now. And it's just been a whirlwind situation.
So you mentioned that there was a Columbia University study that showed neighborhoods of blacks and Latino had the highest rates of COVID in people who are service workers and rent burdened households.
Yes. So people that have to actually still go out into work, that can't stay home, don't have the luxury to staying home, and just because of their jobs, they're still working. That have had to work through the pandemic, have been hit largely with the actual virus.
And these tend to be more black people and Hispanic people.
Yes.
And you know, kind of looking at some of the history of it and the science of it, we are more likely to have pre-existing conditions. So when you're more likely to have pre-existing conditions, the issues that come up as a result of COVID are more likely to be fatal. For us.
Yes, and then also too, access to health care. We don't always have the best access to health care. Going to get tested, not feeling well, going to a doctor to actually diagnose us. And then actually when we go into the doctor, especially we know with black women, even black men, our symptoms are ignored.
They don't believe us.
So we may not be diagnosed until later on, until the problem is no longer a problem, when it's a bigger issue.
Right.
So we see the issue also in healthcare as well.
Right.
As far as black people.
So that was just an illustration of our health and how our health is an issue, because all these issues that we are looking at today and that we look at within our podcast and community, we're focusing on issues that are exclusive to us. So these aren't issues that white people face in the same ways that we do.
No, absolutely not.
Right?
No.
All right, so let's go on to March. All right, March 25th, Joe Biden announced...
You mean April?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, April. Going on to April. Joe Biden announced as our Democratic candidate. So we have Biden to choose from, or we have Trump to choose from. And yet again, we're stuck. Do we vote? Do we not vote? Are we stuck in a rock and a hard place? And what were your thoughts about that whole thing?
I think, like you just said, we're stuck again. I think we were stuck 4 years ago when we had the issue, or I won't say issue, when we had the choice between Hillary and Trump.
I don't think it was that bad.
I don't think it was that bad. Some people feel it's that bad now. People didn't vote because some people felt that they couldn't see themselves voting for Hillary. Trump won, and I feel
now
like
look at us.
And now
Now look at us.
But then, but we're stuck, but I also feel like we're right back where we started 4 years ago. Because some people feel like
Right.
they don't want to vote for Biden, right? They have their reasons, okay.
Right.
But you don't vote for Biden, we're gonna get stuck again
with Trump.
with another 4 years with Trump.
I can't for the life of me understand why someone wouldn't vote for Biden over Trump. I really can't understand it. Anybody in the comments wanted that
here? People.
Yeah.
Want to hear from the people. What do you guys think?
Why would a person refuse to vote and allow for Trump to come back in versus voting for Biden? Now, I understand Biden hasn't demonstrated any kind of real help or assistance or dedication to helping black people with black issues. He also said something foolish around that same time that said, you're not black if you don't vote for me.
Yes, he did.
Remember he said that?
He did with Charlemagne. Yes, he did.
What?
Yeah, he did. And I was going to say something and I just totally forgot. You were talking about Biden.
But
Trump.
what I need to understand is why someone would choose not to vote, why they would rather risk having Trump come in again than vote for Biden. That I just don't understand. If anybody can clarify for me, I would appreciate it. T says because they don't think Biden would be any better.
Can you elaborate on that, brother? Please elaborate on that.
I can't quite understand how, because what we see with Trump, and even today, this is what happened today.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I remember now.
Having Trump in office kind of gave people a license to just come right on out with their hate and with their racist shenanigans and racist behavior. So even today, we saw
the protester,
right?
That
this white man
that traveled to Wisconsin and shot some protesters in Wisconsin,
right?
And was not. I think he was apprehended, but nicely, of course.
Gave him
water and everything. I did like the speech. Did you hear the speech that Michelle Obama gave?
Just, for the DNC, or
yeah, just talking about us voting and talking about you didn't see that?
I didn't hear. I know.
You didn't hear
got
Auntie Shell? Okay.
No.
She just talked about basically we have seen for the past 4 years what Trump can do and has done, and that's it. You don't have to wonder what Trump's going to do. You don't have to really question it. It's really there for us to, not there, but we've lived it.
Right.
These past 4 years. So,
yeah,
I thought I like the way that she worded that speech.
I can't quite see how it wouldn't be better, because I think when you have someone that's insensitive, someone that's clearly, has a supremacist, white supremacist, capitalistic, the values that he has, and he gets into office and he says the things that he says, he incenses people and just kind of, like I said, gives them the license to come straight out with their hate. Whereas before, like, he set us back 50 years, before, yes, it was, our racism is more systemic now, but you're having people come right out and commit acts of racist violence because our leader, our president, leader of the free nation, has kind of given the green light.
That's a fact.
So we can't afford not to vote.
I agree. We have some comments. Dar said, back on the Kobe subject, I know that's a big subject. It's another way Snoop could have spoke to her. He was disrespectful. Indeed. Jason says he's wrong, but he was in his feelings defending Kobe's legacy.
Snoop, yeah.
Agreed. And then back on, I guess, the voting, T says because they don't think that Biden can do any better. And also, some of us like our racism, our hate/racism out front, not hidden. Huh.
What do you think? I don't know if I want mine out front.
He also says, can you think of one good quality Biden besides the fact that he isn't Trump?
Biden brings.
Right. Yeah, so that's the argument.
Yeah. No, I can't. But the fact that he isn't Trump is enough for me.
But what about the fact that we don't have any other choice and that we're stuck? That we it's either, there's only two choices. It's either Trump or there's Biden.
Right.
So I understand. I get it. And I know that's the argument.
Right.
That is the argument, because I know my brother also has the same thoughts.
If for nothing else, our ancestors fought too hard to get us the right to vote, and we need to act as if we value that, if for nothing else. But let's move on.
Yes, please.
To May.
Yes.
All right, May, the civic unrest starts. So with the murder of George Floyd. So George Floyd was murdered on May 25th.
Yeah.
All right. So he was murdered on May 25th, but this is after I mean we're losing people left and right.
Yeah,
Because throughout the year, Ahmaud Arbery was murdered on February 23rd while he was jogging by two white men or three?
It was two white men.
Two white men. George Floyd was May 25th. If
Breonna Taylor was back in March 13th.
March 13th, Breonna Taylor, and then we can
still
go
fighting
back the years and the years and the years.
Elijah McClain.
Elijah McClain was murdered in August 24th of 2019. But the audio, I think it was the audio of the exchange before he passed didn't come out till later on in the year, right around May, June. So in May, the civic unrest starts. In June, by June, he was murdered, May 25th. By June, the worldwide riots and protests start. So they started in Minnesota, and then
in the middle of a pandemic.
In the middle of a pandemic. But I think that's part of the reason why.
It's crazy.
Why, like that was the straw that broke the camel's back. George Floyd,
Right.
no disrespect, but he was no different than a lot of these other men that passed, that passed at the hands of racism and police brutality.
Right,
But it
right.
was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I think that part of the reason was people were cooped up in their homes. They had nothing else to do but watching the news.
People have lost their jobs.
Lost
People
their
are
jobs.
sick.
They're stressed out.
People
they're
are
angry.
dying.
Right.
Grieving. Yeah.
And we
A lot of
that was just
survivors.
one last thing that we were just not trying to deal with.
Yeah, and then and I feel like no justice, no peace. I'm on that stance. That's how
I
feel.
agree.
So and
this really, it was a seismic shift within the Black community.
Absolutely.
His murder, and then what has kind of ensued since then. I think that it's scary, but it's also empowering at the same time. To see
I
our
agree.
country was like literally on fire for a while, and the protests haven't really stopped. They've kind of calmed down, but there's still protests.
absolutely.
Because even today or this week, was it Sunday?
Jacob Blake was shot 7 times in the back. In Wisconsin. Unarmed, right? He's alive but paralyzed from the waist down.
Right.
So we're right back where I don't want to say it's the same thing.
Right. So the protesting hasn't stopped because the violence hasn't stopped.
Right.
People still haven't been convicted. Breonna Taylor's murderers
They're
are
still protesting for her. I saw last night.
Right.
I sent you that last night.
Right.
Still, protesters are getting arrested. We're still fighting for her. Yeah.
So there was a quote that I shared in our Building Black community group, or a video with Malcolm X, and he said that when we get to a point where Black people start to wake up and we start to kind of take this collective responsibility that what happens to my brother is also happening to me, then and only then will we start to progress. And I felt encouraged when I saw that, because I felt that we might be there. Now we're protesting, we're coming together, we're mobilizing in a way we haven't done since the Civil Rights Movement, and we're saying no more. And we have our allies, a lot of white folks and just non-Black folks.
Yeah,
we
need to speak up.
They're
Now's the
speaking up.
time.
Yeah, so I
amongst
think
themselves.
we're starting to see, and then shortly after that, you see all the conversation around supporting Black business and amplify Black voices. And I've made more of an effort and been able to find more resources around supporting Black businesses.
Absolutely.
And
by the way, I have opened a cleaning company.
Yes.
Put that plug in. So Fresh, So Clean. The SoFreshSoClean.com. Check us out. You get $35 off your first cleaning.
yes, for those
Sorry,
of you in the North Jersey area.
And then, all over Jersey. All over Jersey. Go to the
excuse me.
website. Yeah, don't live with us, Al. All over Jersey. Check us out. Had to throw that in there right quick. It seemed like the perfect time.
Right.
Yeah.
I see William just jumped in. Hey,
Hello,
William,
how you doing?
Good to see you on. So, if you all have any thoughts about anything that we're talking about, feel free, jump in. All right, we're moving on to July. That was just last month. Feels like a long time ago. Yet another example of the disconnect between Black men and Black women. So Meg Thee Stallion was shot by Tory Lanez. And it brings up this question again. I find myself involved in these daggone social
Yeah,
media
you do,
debates
you do.
all the
You
time, and
do.
I have to stay. I gotta stop because
You're
my
not,
my
you're
blood
not,
pressure,
You're not gonna stop.
my
but
blood pressure,
yeah.
trying to explain why Black women feel unprotected, and
Right.
even men. Some of you all in this group, feel free to jump in.
Please.
You know, I've had conversations with you all, and it's like there's a disconnect.
Yes, there is.
Matter of fact, are we going to focus on that next week?
We can try. We want to.
That's going to be our topic for next
yeah,
week.
Yeah.
The disconnect between Black men and Black women, and why Black women feel unprotected. That's our topic for next week. So, last month he shot the girl in her 2 feet.
It's not funny. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing at the way she said it. It's not at all funny. Yes.
Right.
She at first didn't want to say what happened. Mm-hmm. I think she just recently came out about what happened, and they're coming for her. I'm so confused as to why. There's all these questions about why, what must have happened for him to shoot her in the foot. That's the part that's getting me. That she
Right.
did something to deserve being shot
In the foot
at
twice.
So there's all this conversation about it, and again, like Heidi just said, we don't feel protected, and these are one of the reasons why we don't feel protected.
And I think it's not just the fact that it happened, because that was one isolated incident. But another reason we don't feel protected is because when we hear the conversation about it, that it's like these men can't see that this was a crime committed against her.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, she couldn't have died getting shot in the foot, but
She could
I mean,
have,
She could have.
the
She could
bullet
have bled
could-
out. I guess she could have bled
yeah.
out. So she could have lost her life, and we're asking questions and not defending this woman and getting into debates about whether she was protected or not, or whether Black women are protected or not.
And being called a snitch.
snitch.
Shoot me in the foot, and we'll see what happens. I'm telling them right away.
Somebody
what happened.
shoot your daughter in the foot, and you're gonna keep quiet about it.
But the thing that got me the most, to be honest with you, listening to her talk about it, was her first instinct was to protect not only the people that she was with, because it was the cops and things of that nature, but her first instinct was to protect him. He shoots her in the foot. Let's really think about that for 1 second. He shoots her in the foot. She wants to protect the people around her. Okay, but her instinct was also to protect him.
Right.
That is mind-blowing to me.
It really is. It
It's
really is.
mind-blowing to me, but yeah.
Now, going to the comments, T said, can we also address the fact that Black women are not backing up other Black women? That's
That's
interesting.
a fact. You always say that, and that's true.
Okay.
Can you elaborate for the people, please?
Well, you
Because
know, what did he say?
his thing is that Black women tend to be very hard on other Black women. Not only Black women, women in general.
Okay.
And there have been women that have said things as well about the situation.
Okay.
So his thing is, it baffles him that women hear these things and question other women.
I
that's
haven't
interesting.
seen so much of that, but
Okay. So wait, we have some more comments.
yeah, we're pretty much caught up. But William
Okay.
said, I think this year has made me emotionally sober. Okay.
Ooh, that's a good. Okay.
Yep. And T said, I've seen more women attack
There have been
her
women
than,
attacked her,
than,
yeah.
than men.
Women have attacked her, asking the same questions.
Like, what did she do?
Yeah, what happened? They want to hear the whole story. What's
Yeah.
that type of?
These aren't the women in my circles, but,
Yeah, what?
but that's one perspective.
Not mine either, but they're out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, big disconnect between Black men and Black women, and just it makes it even more evident that there needs to be healing amongst us. We're not hearing each other. We're often not respecting each other on a large scale, and
Right.
not understanding each other
Right.
on a large scale.
Absolutely.
Now,
So-
coming into the month of August, hey, Lori,
L'Oreal.
the month of August. So we have our primary elections. So Biden selects Kamala Harris for VP. Again, more just disagreeing and
Folks calling
backlash
women not black
and
and-
right
come on.
social media fights. I didn't get into any about this.
Oh,
but
you left that alone.
Yeah, I left that
Good for
one
you.
alone. I left
Good
that
for
one alone.
you.
I just can't leave it alone when it comes to Black women. But basically that Kamala is not for Black people.
Right, because of her past
History.
Past history
As
in
a
her job.
prosecutor.
Yes.
Right, that she sent more Black people to jail.
She did
Now the
over
question
sentencing,
is,
yeah.
I mean, if they committed a crime, did they need to go to jail?
Right. I'm not sure where this. I guess people have come out. Men have come out and said that there was there was evidence that was planted. There's all kinds of different stories coming out. So I don't know how true these stories are. That's just some of the things that I've heard.
Right.
Again, guys, we this is it. This is who we have.
Right.
It's
But is
Trump
it-
and
is
Pence and
Do we not want, she's representation. This is a black woman that's in
She is.
office. So
She is.
does it not help us at all? And let's hear from you all. Does it help us at all that we now have a black woman potentially that could be the vice president of the United States, which we've never seen before? We've never seen a woman in that office, period,
Right.
let alone a
A
black
black
woman.
woman.
So this would
Yeah.
be history on a number of levels. Why can we not get behind that?
right.
Why can't we not get behind that? So I want to hear from you all, those of you who feel that, or do you all feel that this is a good thing or a bad thing? If you agree and you feel like this is a good
Y'all know what she
thing,
about to say. Go ahead.
put a 100 in the comments.
You want to read T's comment?
All right, I'll read T's comment. So he says too much focus is put on the negative men, not the ones
He does say that a
that
lot.
do protect black women.
And I agree.
Well,
But
so I'm gonna explain why that happens. So as a therapist, I'm a therapist, SerenityWellnessandTherapy.com. As a therapist, I often talk to my clients about the negativity bias. So the negativity bias is, why is it that we always focus on what's wrong? Why is it that we all, we could get 100 comments, 100 compliments on our new hairstyle, but one person gives us a criticism and we focus on that criticism? We focus on it because of the negativity bias. Anything that is threatening to us, whether it be emotionally threatening, physically threatening, our brain over the years has been trained and conditioned to look for problems. When we were, I don't want to say cave people, we weren't cave people, but less evolved hunter-gatherers, if we didn't look for the threat or the thing that was wrong, we could lose our lives. So from a survival standpoint, our brain has been conditioning, neuroscience,
Yeah.
to focus on the problem. So it's kind of human nature to focus on what's wrong versus what's right. Not to say it's good, but it's what we do.
It will happen. And I think also too, the negative is sometimes louder. A lot of times, especially talking about black women feeling protected, black men protecting black women, things of that nature. The negative, unfortunately, is louder. We hear that more than we do the black men every day that's protecting their family.
Right. But Oprah did just come out with the show about black fathers.
Okay.
I'm saying she's and people have criticized Oprah
for years.
for years, not supporting black people,
Well,
not supporting black men. She's coming out with the show on her network, highlighting black fathers.
I saw you posted that. I will definitely tune in. I would love to see what Oprah has put together.
That's something positive.
Yeah, and she put Breonna Taylor on the cover. First time,
She sure did.
not putting herself on the cover.
She
years
sure,
I
for
think
25 years.
it was time.
Yeah.
we didn't want to see another picture.
it was her magazine, but
we didn't want to see another picture of Oprah. But I'm glad that she was able. She also put a couple billboards around of Breonna Taylor also on the magazine. So
Yeah, so she has, who's on this show? Kirk Franklin, Anthony
Okay.
Hamilton, T.D. Jakes. They're highlighting their experiences as fathers and trying to show positive male father figures. So that's
great.
That's a step in the right direction.
We'll take it.
All right, L'Oreal says Kamala was a prosecutor. Wasn't she doing her job? Could be one perspective. That's my perspective. Let's see. So 99% of black men can protect black women. We're still going to give more credence to the 1% because it's loud.
And we know.
No,
we know
but it's not 99% now.
I don't think it's 99. T.
That's
but
a
anyway,
little high.
Let's keep going.
She still has more work to do, but that's a good start in reference to Jason says that in reference to Oprah.
Yes.
All right. So all of those things, January through August, I don't want to think about what's coming September, October, November, December.
Yeah, we got to we just got to push through at this point.
Yeah.
We've made it this far.
Right.
And we just got to keep pushing, in my opinion, for the remainder of 2020
Absolutely.
and send 2020 on its way.
Right. Absolutely.
Yes.
Let's see. What's this? Laura said my friend Susan Hayward is starring in that show. I can get her on if you would like. Are we talking about the OWN show, L'Oreal? What show are we talking about? The show on Black fathers? Yeah, get her on if we can. Let's make those connections. If you can get me a tie to Oprah, I'm all for it. So we've kind of gone through the year. We've talked about what's happened, and a lot of this is negative, bad things that's happened.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Right.
it has been.
So what's the point? Why are we talking about all of these things that have happened? Why are we, we don't want to be negative and just focus on the problem. So that brings us back to why are we doing this? We're doing this because we want to talk about the solutions. We want to come up with answers. If no elected officials represent us or care about us, what are we going to do to make sure that us, our families, our children are okay?
Right.
We need to have conversations about that. We need to educate ourselves. So we're going to have experts come on, talk about real estate, business, investing, health, marriage, communication. We're going to empower ourselves so that we can move past all of these issues and take care of ourselves.
And really begin to thrive. Like you said, we want to thrive, not just survive.
Right.
So that's really the purpose of it, is really focusing on building self, building family, and building our community. That's it. That's all that matters is us.
Right.
In my opinion.
We want to have conversations. We want to educate ourselves, and then from that education and conversation, we want to take action.
Yes.
We're not just going to be talking about the problems with no solution. We're talking about answers. And so the solution to all of this that we talked about that's gone down in 2020 is education, conversation, taking action, and focusing on yourself, your family, and your community. And that's what Building Black is all about. So that's all for our first show. L'Oreal says yes, the OWN show. So she has a friend. Okay, you have a friend, Susan Hayward, that's starring in the show. Yes, make those connections. Let's make those.
So
connections.
fresh, so clean. Get your house clean, y'all. Come
She's
on.
back with the shameless self plug.
You repped your Serenity Wellness and Therapy.
Yes.
Get right. Life. I'm a life coach as well, relationship coach. There, we got therapy. You are the therapist of the practice. Let's go. So every week, you all, we're going to be airing live in the Facebook community, the Building Black Facebook community at 8 p.m. We started a little bit behind today because we were having these technical difficulties, but we'll be back in our regular studio, aka my office, The studio
next week at 8 p.m. So be prepared to tune in. For those of you who are listening YouTube and podcasts, look for us on Facebook, the Building Black Community. You can find us as a private Facebook group and send a request to join. There are some entry questions. What does it mean to get your black card removed? If you can't answer that question, then you probably don't need to be a part of our group. That's our way of keeping trolls out.
And also, too, we want to hear from you guys if there any topics that you guys want to hear about. You want us to go in depth about anything, please let us know, whether it be in the group, whether you send us a message. Let us know what you want to hear about or things that are on your mind as it pertains to us.
Right, to the Black community.
We want this to be an interactive experience.
Yes. So tune in next week. We're going to be talking about, are Black women unprotected? We may need some mediators for this conversation, but we'll see.
We'll see.
All right. So thank you all for tuning in. We love you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.